Spoiler alert if you haven't been watching Instagram, but Israel Adesanya is moving to America, and it seems to me.
What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yeah.
So, Nick, Dan Hooker, the wrestler last night, was able to get a victory in his return, and talk about professionalism personified. He literally flies into town Thursday night due to these COVID restrictions, weighs in Friday morning, fights Saturday, and now I understand he's got to go into like a 6-week quarantine and not going to see his family for over a month. So credit to Dan Hooker. Showed some incredible new skills and development in his game, which is grappling. And I was mostly impressed by him walking his opponent down last night, staying in the center of the octagon, being the aggressor. You know, we saw that be his downfall in the fight against Michael Chandler. And it looks like he's taken some things from that loss and corrected all of them, as well as increased his skill in the grappling department. Yeah, and Dan Hooker's stock should go up, not only for the performance in the cage last night, but the fact that he was just fighting it sold out arenas in his home country, or, you know, over there in that part of the world, and fighting Michael Chandler, fighting these huge names. And then he takes a couple of losses, and he fights a guy that's virtually unknown to the people that aren't, you know, super deep into the MMA world. You know, that's a cool move. That's a legit martial artist move. You know what? He realized he lost a couple of fights, and maybe a big star wasn't on the horizon for him right after that. But he let a guy potentially, you know, he let a guy shoot his shot and potentially steal a bunch of thunder from Dan Hooker. But it just turns out that Dan is absolutely one of the best 155ers on the planet. And I think that because he took that fight for the UFC, because he took it on the prelims, which he was not a prelim fighter, I think that he deserves a main card slot again. I think that he deserves a big name again, and we need to put him right back into the mix at 155, because he is a problem for a lot of people. And, you know, the Michael Chandler fight, that could have happened to anybody, especially against a guy like Michael Chandler on his debut, where he was a man on a mission and, you know, had a point to prove, a chip on his shoulder. I feel like Michael Chandler would have been fine with getting knocked out as long as he was electric that night. And Dan Hooker just, it didn't go his way. But I really do like the way that Dan Hooker handled himself afterwards. You know, he's clearly showing us that he's able to, you know, wipe the slate clean and move forward. And I was really impressed. Yeah, absolutely. And Haqparast, I believe that's how you pronounce his opponent's name, the German fighter, did hit him with some big shots, and Dan stayed right in there. You know, he threw heavy punches a couple of times. A few of them landed. Hooker showed a great chin. And the most important thing is, even when his opponent landed, he was staying right in his face. He was right in his face, took the center of the octagon, did not give it up for the entirety of the fight, did an excellent job of baiting Haqparast. You know, he would throw a couple of punches and then allow Haqparast to try to return and answer back and respond, if you will, for the punches just landed. And he used those opportunities with his opponent coming forward to get takedowns, and not just to get takedowns, but to establish a dominant position and side control, throw some elbows, make some ground and pound very exciting. And I think that was something that none of us were expecting out of Dan Hooker. We know his main sparring partner is Israel Adesanya. We know he's 6 feet tall, which is very tall for the 155 division, and we know his striking is very good, and he's a very cerebral fighter, so we expected to see that. I did not expect to see him dominate in the wrestling and grappling department. He's clearly been working on the evolution of his game, and I have to give him credit for that. And I think exactly what you said, nobody else in the top 10 of 155 is fighting an unranked opponent.
Yeah, and when you think about City Kickboxing's team, obviously they're all great kickboxers and strikers, but they're starting to implement some really impressive offensive wrestling and grappling and defensive wrestling and grappling. And, you know, the spoiler alert if you haven't been watching Instagram, but Israel Adesanya is moving to America, and it seems to me, judging by the message and the tightness of City Kickboxing, the whole team is picking up and moving shop over to America. I think Eugene Behrman's moving with him. I think Dan Hooker's moving. I think Volkanovski's probably going to make the move too. All these guys are moving to America, and, you know, America is the home of many things, but really good wrestling and now really good jiu-jitsu is also one of those. So I think that they've got the striking down, you know, better than almost any camp in the entire world. But when you start to implement some of these All-American wrestlers, these D1 studs that they're going to be bringing into their camp, and Craig Jones, he's a good friend of theirs, and Andre Galvo, who's a good friend of Israel Adesanya.
He promotes Israel, and he just promoted him to purple belt.
Right, his professor. They're going to be getting even better, even more dangerous with their grappling. As far as offense and defense go, I don't really see Izzy submitting people in his career. But, these guys are going to be a problem as they continue to get better and more complete martial artists implementing the grappling.
Yeah, I mean, a solid year with Andre Galvo, and Jan Blachowicz definitely does not hold him on the ground as he did in their fight. So who knows if they end up in San Diego? Maybe he'll be there training with Galvo multiple times a week, which we could see real evolution in this game.
Yeah.
Obviously, Texas is kind of where jiu-jitsu is happening right now.
Yeah.
Gordon Ryan moving here, Craig Jones and all of his team moving here. You mentioned the Australian connection there, so I think that Austin could very, very well be a landing spot. You broke this news to me this morning. I did not see this post before I came over here, but listen, when at a certain period of time, when you're 6 weeks quarantining away from your family, they make it extremely difficult for you to get out of the country. You got to land on Thursday, weigh in on Friday. Izzy said they had the police came multiple times and shut City Kickboxing down. These guys have to earn a living. I understand COVID's a real thing, but at the end of the day, everybody has to be comfortable with the risks that they take in life. And if your life's work and what earns money for your family is fighting and you're not allowed to train, you got to pick up and move. Yeah. And Texas is kind of where it's happening right now. It's pretty open with regards to the freeness of movement and training and all of that. So I could see them end up here. And what an amazing addition to the great Texas martial arts scene we have. City Kickboxing, if you're listening, come on out to Texas.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see them out. And, there's Austin City Limits. It's a huge music festival and arts festival. I think maybe Austin City Kickboxing would be a cool name for them to stay if they do come to Austin. I think that's probably a likely place for them to wind up. Hopefully Texas is where they wind up. And it's just unfortunate that as of right now, he's got to wait all this time to see his family again. And these guys, they have to jump through so many hoops. Whereas most people that are fighting in the UFC, they're able to hug their family a day after they, or 2 days, or however long it takes them to get back home. They don't have to go restrict themselves and lock themselves down on another, quarantine type of situation. So I feel for Dan Hooker. The only thing you want after a hard training camp is to be with your family and to be refrain from that kind of sucks. But I hope that he gets home safe to his family. I hope that they all have a safe move up here to the United States. I think it's really cool. And that's a monumental thing for the world of mixed martial arts to see. If we see an entire camp, which, Izzy kind of spoke about it. He goes, look, we have 4 walls and a roof, and inside of that is what we created City Kickboxing in. It's not the building. It's not the state. It's not the country that it's in. It's the people that were in there. We're going to take those people, and we're going to move the name. We're just going to take it somewhere else, and it's going to be in America. That's really cool to me. I think that's going to be a historical moment in the UFC and in MMA, and I'm really excited to see where they land. If you guys can guess and predict where they're going to go, let us know. My top prediction is Austin, Texas, or somewhere in Texas, or San Diego. You made a good point. Maybe Florida. They might go join the South Florida elite teams down there, but who knows? There's a lot of good options here, and I'm just excited to see what City Kickboxing does next.
For sure. Well, yeah, that was a great one. And guys, thanks so much for watching this video. And if you've enjoyed the content, a like, comment, and subscribe is always appreciated. And if you listen to audio podcasts, check us out there as well. Have a wonderful day, guys.
Whoa. Peace.
Technical malfunction.
Peace out anyways.